So Norwich and Watford have already been promoted back up to the Premier League, but who's going to be joining them via the playoffs? Let's talk about it. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Now with the 4 playoff spots being confirmed, I thought we'd have a bit of a deeper look into each of those sides and their season so far, and have a bit of a discussion about who we realistically think is the favourite to be going up via the playoffs. As always, get your thoughts in the comments down below. Really interested to hear your guys' input onto this one, whether you do support one of those clubs or not. And make sure to leave a like if you do go on to enjoy today's video. If we could hit 300 likes, that would be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. So it's very interesting. The other day on the community tab, I put this poll out asking who would be your guys' early favourites to win the playoffs. Brentford came back with 25% of the vote, Bournemouth with 29%, Swansea with just 8%, and then Barnsley with a whopping 38% of the vote as the team that you guys are backing at this point in time. I think that a lot of people are behind Barnsley in this current playoff campaign, as they are the underdog. You know, everyone loves a bit of an underdog story, and I mean, if Barnsley were to go the full way, it would be, you know, quite the achievement considering everything that had happened last season, them surviving in the final few minutes of that season to then go on and be promoted to the Premier League. But I thought it was an interesting poll to run nonetheless in terms of how confident you guys are with backing one of those sides at the moment. So as we all know, in the playoffs, momentum can be a very big team, and how a side actually finishes the season can be quite crucial for coming into those playoff matches with a bit of confidence. As you can see to the side of me, these are each of the playoff sides and their form over the last 10 games. So currently, Bournemouth have been the strongest of those playoff sides over that last 10 game sample period, picking up 22 points. Obviously, they had that fantastic winning run during those last 10 games. Barnsley right behind them on 20 points. We then have Brentford on 18 points, who have been guilty of drawing a lot of matches recently. Obviously, in terms of being hard to beat, Brentford haven't been all too bad in this aspect, and that could suit, you know, playoff football over a couple of legs. You know, Brentford haven't been losing matches. The problem is they've not been able to kill off many matches either. They've just had one draw too many. And then at the bottom of the pile, it is Swansea currently coming into this with the worst run of form, only picking up 11 points over their last 10 matches, so only just averaging over a point per game at the moment, Swansea. So going off the form book coming into the playoffs, it's currently Bournemouth who are coming into this one with the strongest argument in that sense. Probably argue that they may even have the best squad as well in terms of pound for pound and talent and things like that, but there are other factors to take into consideration here. Another important aspect when heading into the playoffs is that you're able to keep your bottle in a big game of football. As you can see to the side of me, these are the head-to-head records between the sides that are currently in the playoffs this season. So they've all played each other twice this season, and these are the following results from those matches. So it is actually Barnsley who have the weakest record against these sides in the playoffs at the moment, winning just 2 matches and losing 4 against fellow playoff opposition this season. Bournemouth have fared slightly better than Barnsley in these sort of matches with 2 wins, 1 draw and 3 losses. But interestingly enough, it's actually Brentford and Swansea who have the strongest record in these type of matches so far this season. So Swansea have won 2, drawn 3 and only lost 1. And then coming in with the strongest head-to-head record against fellow playoff opposition this season, it's actually Brentford with 3 wins, 2 draws and just 1 loss. And the other thing to take into consideration here is the fact that both Brentford and Swansea were in the playoffs last season, albeit those, you know, campaigns didn't go to plan, they didn't end up winning them, but nevertheless they have that know-how of being in the top 6 and playing those sort of crunch matches. You know, we always hear people saying you learn more from a defeat than you do from a victory. Well, the playoffs this season will certainly put that to the test for Brentford and Swansea. Swansea, of course, going out in the playoff semi-finals over 2 legs to Brentford, and Brentford eventually losing in the final to Fulham. Another one of the deciding factors in these tight matches is the side's key players, especially moving forward. As you can see to the side of me, these are the players who I certainly think in an attacking sense could make all the difference in these playoff matches. For Bournemouth, the player that I picked out is Arnaud Danjuma. Since coming back from injury and getting himself back up to speed, my God, has he been ripping this league apart. In his last 13 championship matches, he scored 9 goals, got 5 assists and had 5 man of the match performances. He is someone who is able to conjure something out of nothing, and what makes Bournemouth a tough opposition to read is that they can be both effective with and without the ball. They can break with absolutely lightning pace with someone like Danjuma cutting inside from the left. For me, he's certainly the player to watch out for when it comes to Bournemouth. For Barnsley, there were a few attacking players that I could have picked out, but I think I'd have to go for Daryl Dike, especially in this second half of the season since he's joined up with this Barnsley squad. He's made 12 starts for Barnsley and 5 appearances off the bench. In that time, has already scored 9 goals for them and has been a crucial reason to their sudden upturn in form in the second half of the season. He actually has the strongest goal conversion rate in the league as well. He's been absolutely clinical in front of goal with a 38% conversion rate. To put that in context with some of the other top strikers in the Championship, Ivan Toney, who's currently leading the way in the league for goals this season, has a conversion rate of 28%. So Dike this season has been freakishly good in front of goal, and we all know how the introduction of a new striker in January can completely turn the tide of a team's season. We saw it with Swansea last season in the introduction of Ryan Brewster, his goals eventually getting Swansea over the line and into the playoffs. Well, Daryl Dike's goals for Barnsley in the end could be pivotal in getting them promoted to the Premier League. Brentford's key man, of course, I had to go for the league's top scorer, Ivan Toney, with 29 goals and 10 assists this season. He's been absolutely lethal, but interestingly enough, there has been a little bit of a dry up in those goals recently. He's just scored 1 in his last 7 matches now. However, I don't necessarily think that falls on the fault of Ivan Toney. What he's been so good at this season is he's been the front man of a Brentford team which will be feeding him chances. He's averaged around about 3 shots per game throughout the entirety of the season so far. In those last 7 matches, he has been averaging under those 3 shots per game, which shows he's not quite getting that same service at this point in time like he once was. It's not necessarily down to, Ivan Toney missing easy chances, as it were. So for Toney to be as effective as he possibly can be, Brentford need to be getting back to, playing on the front foot and supplying him with those chances in dangerous areas, because you just know he's going to take them, don't you? What's interesting about Brentford is they have recently changed their system a little bit. They've gone to a 3 at the back, whereby previously they played pretty much the whole of the season in that 4-3-3, so it'll be interesting to see if they do persist with that 3 at the back heading into the playoffs. But yeah, nevertheless, Ivan Toney is a complete game changer. For Swansea, I had to go for their key man as Andre Ayew. I could have gone for Jamal Lowe, who sort of had his hot and cold spells as the season's gone on. At this point in time, actually looks to be on a nice run of form. He's been within the goals, but Ayew is the complete difference maker for Swansea. He's their top scorer this season with 16 goals and 4 assists to go along with it. I think that his importance to this side was emphasised in their last game against Reading when he came on off the bench. They look so much more threatening moving forward, and at times there maybe has been a bit of an over-reliance on Ayew in terms of him conjuring up something in the final third, because out of all the teams that are currently in the playoffs, Swansea have scored the fewest amount of goals, but they do have the best defensive record, obviously, especially in the first half of the season. Swansea's season this time round has been built upon defensive stability, and so it's these moments moving forward which can be so decisive for them, and Ayew is a complete game changer. By far and away one of the best players in the Championship, and you can just tell about him. He has that sort of winning mentality. You can tell he's been a player who's played at the top, he's been in the Premier League, and if Swansea are going to get there, make no mistake about it, he's going to be absolutely vital. What I then thought I'd do is compile the best possible combined 11 of all of these playoff sides put together. But the catch is you can only use 3 representatives per team, and you need to put together a starting 11 and a manager. So do let me know down below if you guys can put together a better team than what I've managed to here. So as you can see on screen now, this is the team that I put together and what I believe to be the best possible combined Championship playoff 11. Obviously the catch being you can only use 3 players per team, and you need to have a manager in there as well. So I'll quickly run you through it. I had Begovic in net, a back 4 of Rico Henry, Ethan Pinnock, Michael Healy and Connor Roberts. The midfield 4 is looking very strong. We've got Danjuma, Mowat, Billing and Ayew, and a forward 2 of Ivan Toney and Daryl Dike. They would score goals for days. And then all of this is managed by Swansea manager Steve Cooper. Let me know down below what you make of that 11, and could you put together a better combined Championship playoff 11? So in terms of my final thoughts on this, in terms of who I personally think is going to get promoted at this current stage in time, to be honest with you, I think I am currently most edging towards Bournemouth. I think that the run they've been on as of late, and the quality that's bedded in throughout that squad, and the amount of people they have with experience of previously playing in the Premier League, so they're used to these sort of pressured situations, I do think that sort of thing can tell. The only thing that sort of still makes me a little bit wary about Bournemouth is I'm still not 100% sold on Jonathan Woodgate, maybe in these sort of like big crunch matches we saw before their record against some of the other playoff opposition. Barnsley are the team that you guys are backing at the moment, and to be honest, I can see why. Obviously a team that's playing with a lot of momentum at the moment. I don't think that anyone particularly wants a game against Barnsley. Whoever they're going to get in the playoffs, Barnsley are going to be right up for that. Swansea are probably the side at the moment who I am least confident in, but hey, strange things can happen in the playoffs. playoffs, you know, we saw Huddersfield getting promoted after not scoring a single goal in their playoff campaign. But I do also think that a lot of people are currently sleeping on Brentford as well. I think that after last year and how the playoff final went, you know, Thomas Frank will surely use that as a bit of motivation to these players. And like we saw before, Brentford do have the best record against these opposition. So that's what I'm currently feeling at the moment. If I had to back one side, I'd probably just edge towards Bournemouth. But yeah, it really is anyone's game at this point onwards. So do get all your thoughts down in the comments down below. Really interested to see what you guys are saying about this one. If you did go to enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. Do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. Check out the Patreon as well. Link to that is down below. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.